Welcome to the New Nostalgia, a mini documentary channel along with anything music related. My goal is to introduce listeners to bands that they may not have heard of and are looking for new music, but struggle in finding something they like. Here are 10 bands I suggest checking out. Little Stranger. If you haven't heard of Little Stranger yet, then take a listen. Hip-hop, reggae, rock, alternative, indie, you name it. This duo out of Philadelphia can do it all. Kevin and John Shields, who are not related despite sharing the same last name, have an energetic stage presence, and watching John dabble with his looping tracks on his guitar and drums is a sight to see while they both chime in with witty and catchy verses. While John brings the melodies, classic Kevin matches his energy on vocals as he raps on the mic, and their flows mesh extremely well together. They have a few albums, and all of them are worth the listen. I'd recommend I'm Fine with The Elevators, Red Rover with Jarve, Sunburn with Tropidelic, Simply Business, Sophia, and Kama Sumatra to see if anything catches your attention. What I like about Little Stranger is that they are constantly touring with Damn Skippy and Jarve, building a bond that provides an electric show that lasts for the whole night. Some people skip the openers at shows, but if these three are on the same bill, make sure you are there from the start. They are currently on tour with Slightly Stoopid and will host the Stranger Days Festival in Garrettsville, Nelson Ledges, Ohio, at the end of September. I'd also recommend the band Long Miles, the former band of the guitarist. The Movement, who just released their 8th studio album, Visions, are an alternative reggae band that incorporates heavy drums and bass. On their most recent album, they have collaborated with Tribal Seeds, Stick Figure, The Elevators, and Nick Hexum of 311. Putting up 2 sends a positive message to know that everything is going to be fine, and the metaphor represents peace. Nice and Slow with The Elevators has a perfect beach vibe melody for hitting the waves and cooling down with a drink in hand as the waves rush in and night falls. They've gained popularity over the past decade and have risen to number 7 on the Billboard Reggae Album Chart with their new album, and their previous albums, One More Night, Golden, and Ways of the World, have also reached number 1 on the reggae chart. The album Side by Side also reached number 2. They currently have over 1.3 million Spotify followers and are on tour with Tribal Seeds. Rome Ramirez. After disbanding from Sublime with Rome and releasing a new single, Why Me, Rome looks to take on a solo career. He successfully brought back Sublime and had a great run, but with Bradley Nowell's son, Jacob, taking over, Rome was the odd man out. In Rome's case, I believe this will be highly beneficial for him. Sublime with Rome had run its course due to tension and creative differences. However, I believe that with full control, Rome will be able to create new music without any boundaries. As of 2025, he has been credited as a producer for over 99 songs, most with the Dirty Heads. He's also collaborated with the Dirty Heads and have been popular for a decade now with the song Lay Me Down, which can be found and heard on many playlists and radio stations. He also released an album with Duddy in 2023. I look forward to what he brings to the table in the future. I'll definitely keep an eye on his projects, as should you. G-Love and Special Sauce. G-Love has been around since the early 1990s, and they're still going strong today. I did a mini documentary on him and his influence on the reggae scene and how he's been rising with the current generation. He's like the fun uncle that comes around during the holidays that you constantly want to hang out with. In 2022, he collaborated with many blues and hip-hop artists to create the album Philadelphia, Mississippi, which I highly recommend. During that recording, a live set was written by RL Boyce. After shelving it for a few years, they got back together and began recording new music. Unfortunately, a week into the new recording, RL passed away. G-Love and guests are now determined to take the music that was recorded and put out an album dedicated to RL. The new single, Feel Me Better, has a classic blues riff and was an instant add to my daily playlist. A similar situation happened last year when an album was released under the band Catastro, whose lead singer passed away in a car accident. After a few years, members of Iration, the Dirty Heads, Rome, and others helped complete the album until the end of time. The surviving members of the band found it to be healing, and Iration even sold Catastro merchandise at their live shows and donated to the band. I expect G-Love to do a similar sequence with the new album, Ode to RL, which will be released in November. Beachfly. Beachfly comes from Binghamton, New Jersey, a small beach town off the coast of the Atlantic. They are signed to Ineffable Records and have collaborated with Tropidelic, Surfer Girl, and The Expendables, just to name a few. They also toured with Surfer Girl and Coyote Island. Last year, they were sitting at about 10,000 Spotify followers, and a year later, they're close to 200,000. They're an East Coast reggae band. It's interesting to see all the new East Coast and Midwest reggae bands making a name for themselves over the past decade. It's a different sound than the traditional West Coast, but it blends together perfectly. Make It Work featuring Tropidelic is a chill vibe song that I would recommend. Their slow, melodic vibe should sustain as they continue to grow popularity in the scene. The Starting Line. The Starting Line are back, releasing 2 singles in 2025, Circulate and Sense of Humor. A new album is also scheduled to drop in 2025 as well. With many of the OG pop punk bands disassembled, we have seen a lot of them return because of the We Were Young festival. Elder emos and their favorite bands recreating their teenage angst 20 years later, name a better duo. This should be a riveting release that we have all been waiting for over a decade now. The band has grown up. Kenny's voice is not the high pitch that it once was, but they are still writing satire with their pop punk and sound that we all have come to love. This album won't be seen on TRL, but it will make waves upon its release. Also, props to Hate5six. If you're looking for pop punk nostalgia and live shows, check out that channel. Denim. The first time I heard Denim was because of the song Khalifas with the Dirty Heads, and I was instantly hooked. His first album, Slum Beach Denny, was the perfect album in the summer of 2021 when we were all trapped in our homes because of COVID-19. My Wave and Life's Too Short are instant hooks, along with Every Day's the Weekend. His cover of Sublime's Bad Fish is a great cover to a legendary song. He followed it up with an EP, and his new album, Hot and Glassy, is another summer vibe that must be heard. Every song is something different, and the record just can spin without needing to change it, from Little Love with the 808s bass beats to Okay Not Alright that indirectly shouts out the Wallflowers and his love for hip-hop. Okay Not Alright follows up nicely with Rage by the Dirty Heads. Although we will never know what type of music Bradley Nowell would have continued writing, I think Denim is the closest we'll ever get with his style of music and vocals. New Medicine. New Medicine is a very intriguing band. They released a few albums in the early 2010s that hit the charts. The modern rock, post-grunge, and hip-hop verses on the mic make for an in-your-face sound with heavy instrumentals. Their album, Race You to the Bottom, hit number 2 on the Billboard New Artist chart in 2010 with fast-paced and catchy hooks. They then took a hiatus for a few years and gained traction through streaming services. They haven't released an album since 2014, but they have had 7 different singles. Baggage, Type, and Know Somebody all have over 500,000 plays on Spotify. Will they finally release a new album? Will it be like when Bayside released a few EPs and then took those tracks to an album? Or will they continue down the single route? Either way, I'd highly recommend checking them out. RC Drive. RC Drive first caught my attention through YouTube Shorts, and their song Louie was easy on the ears. It's a catchy sing-along track with bare minimum instruments that help define their so-called genre of attic rock, a raw and not overproduced sound. They kind of give me a Young the Giant, Group Love, Coast Modern vibe with a mix of Cage the Elephant and the Strokes. Their simplicity has a fun groove, and I look forward to seeing how they continue to rise in the scene. Nick Hexum, the lead singer and guitarist of 311, has had his hand in many collaborations. His solo career is much different from 311, but it fits. His jazz and blues album, released under the Nick Hexum Quintet, was released in 2013 and was an excellent album that I would highly recommend. He has also been credited on songs with the Dirty Heads, Tropidelic, Sugar Ray, The Movement, and many other reggae artists, which has shown his longevity in the scene. In the summer of 2025, he released 3 new EPs, which included 13 songs. He experiments with new instruments, his vocals, and writes deeper meaning tunes. His song I Am Open is a beautifully written song about his brother who unfortunately died of substance abuse. Nick has opened up the past few years with his social media presence, and he carries the positive vibe on his channels. Don't expect 311 on the EP, but a more calmer tone. Props to you, Nick Hexum, for being able to successfully play within a multitude of genres. Honorable mention, Brand New. Yes, there's a lot of controversy with this band, but putting that to the side after their successful summer tour where they played many deep cuts in which fans haven't heard songs in 8+ years, I think they're going to have a resurgence in the scene once they drop their new album, which is unknown if it's in the works. But like true Brand New fashion, they have a unique quietness before they release an album. Anyone remember how they dropped Science Fiction in the middle of the summer without any indication? It's a risky marketing plan, but it can pay off. Jack White last year dropped his No Name album, and lucky customers at his Third Man record store received the album for free on the days of its unexpected release, and it was the talk of the town for a month before it was released to the public. I expect big things from Brand New in the near future, and you'll either be on the train or off it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your favorite songs are by these artists, and feel free to comment on any bands that we should discuss on the channel. Also, check out my first mini doc of G Love and Special Sauce and how he has risen in the reggae scene. Peace.